guys, this is going to be counting the rhythms for the snare drum etude for Golden Eagle Band. So we're looking at the first line right now. The first line, if I was to count and clap that rhythm, it would go like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2, 1 E and a 2, 1 and 1 E and a 2. Sorry, 2 E and a 1. Okay, let's do it again. We're going to do it together. Here we go. Ready and go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2. 1 E and a 2. 1 and 2 E and a. Now, it's hard because of all of the ties. If you take out the ties, it would be a little different, but when you have the ties, because we're doing that roll, so 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a, and 1 E and a 2 E and a, oh my gosh, 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a. So that where you stop on the 1 or whatever beat you're stopping with the right hand, that's going to end that rhythm, okay? Let's do the next one. Second line. Ready, here we go. 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2 and 1, 2, E and a 1 and 2. That one that's tied to the 8th note is always weird. It's always, because it's the tied to the 1, it's going to be the E and a after that. Third line. 1, third line. Ready and go. 1, E and a 1, and E and a 1, 2, 1, and 1, and. Sorry for that, okay? Let's do the fourth line now. Here we go, fourth line. 1, 2, ready and go, and 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 2 and. That one's not too bad. Next line. This is the fifth line. 1, 2, ready and go. 1, 2 and a 2 and 1 E and 2 and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 and. All right, next line. This is the sixth line or the third line from the bottom. 1, 2, ready and go. 1 and 2 E and a 1, 2 and a 2 E and a 2 E and a 1. So hopefully by now you're starting to get an idea of how these rhythms work. If you know how to subdividing the beat with the 16th notes versus the 8th notes, it's going to really help you with this excerpt. Here we go, second to last line of the solo. Ready and go. 1 E and 2 E and 1, 2 and 2 and 1, 2 and 2 E and. The hardest thing are those ties with the buzz hits. That's what's going to really be tricky. All right, next one. Last line. Ready and go. And 1 and E and a 2 and 1 E. 1 E. 1 and 1 and a 2. All right. Good luck. This is just the video explaining the counts and going through the counts. If you wanted to write them in, you can always rewind and go back and write them in. But the other video is going to be me playing through this part, and it'll make sense with all those buzz rolls. So good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always email me. All right, everybody, we're here for the snare etude for the Golden Eagle audition. There's a couple things I want to go over before we start getting into the music. First of all, we're going to go slow, and then I'll do it a little faster as well. But this one I want you to practice with a metronome, and even if you want to perform it with a metronome, that's okay as well. I'd actually prefer it. So your metronome, you can get a free app on your phone. If you want to, it would look like this. This is the tonal energy one. If you want to get a different one that's free, that's fine. There's also a metronome on Smart Music, but I highly suggest, especially as a percussionist, you practice with a metronome. It's going to make sure that you're consistent and accurate with your rhythm and where you're placing it in the tempo. So, a couple things. We're going to talk about the rolls in this piece. How I would like you to do the rolls is if we were going at this tempo.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Your 16th notes, which are the ones with the double bars, would go
1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Because those are 16th notes, there's 4 in each beat. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. So making sure those are nice and even. Now what you're going to do for the rolls in this piece is you're going to do it basically that rhythm, but you're going to let your hands do the buzz hit. So when they have the little Z's over the notes, so instead of going 1 E and a 2 E and a, you're going to go 1 E and a 2 E and a. So you're letting it hit more than once. It should actually be 2. Now what I'm doing is I'm holding pressure between my pointer finger and my thumb, gently wrapping my fingers around, and I'm letting the sticks bounce. So when you're doing the roll, it should be an even 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. When you have that tie over from a roll, I want you to strike the note that it is tied to with your right hand. So if, for instance, you're looking at the first line, the third measure into the fourth measure is a half note tied to a 16th note, it's going to go 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. If I play those two measures together, 3 and 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2. So you want to make sure that you end that buzz hit nice and strong, okay? That's going to be the main thing with those buzz hits. I would suggest if the buzz hits are hard, practice everything without the buzz roll first, and then add that in as you get more comfortable. The most important thing is staying relaxed. And because we're going to be going slow, it's not going to be very even, because it's actually easier to play faster as a buzz roll. But you want to start slow so you get that nice, open, relaxed feel, okay? So we're going to go line by line in this audition piece with the metronome. I will play it first, explain a couple things, and then play it again, okay? So here we go.
1.
Right now I'm going at 64 beats per minute.
1, 2.
I'm going to put the subdivision of the 16th notes so you can hear that.
1, 2, 1.
So those are the double barred 16th notes. That's how fast they are.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Here's the first line.
1, 2,
1, 2, ready, here we go.
1,
E and a 2, E and a 1 and 2. 1 E and a 2, E and a 1 E and a 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 E and a
1, 2.
So that's how you would do that one. So when you're doing that second to last measure, you want to make sure that you're going 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 E and a. I'll do it again. This is the last two measures on the first line. It goes 1 and 2 and 1 E and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 E and a. So what I'm doing for those buzz rolls, 1 buzz buzz hit, buzz buzz hit, 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 buzz buzz hit, 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 hit. Okay? So making sure you're singing nice and relaxed. I'll do that one more time in time. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 E and a. Okay? So remember the buzz hits, nice and relaxed and having a definite ending on the downbeat wherever the note is tied to. One more time.
2, 1.
This time I'm not going to count,
1,
but I'm going to be thinking those counts in my head.
1, 2,
1, 2, ready, go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay? Just take it little bit by little bit. Second line. I'm going to play it, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. We'll talk a little bit about it.
1, 2,
1, 2, second line, here we go.
1,
And a 2, and a 1, 2, and 1 E and a 2 E and a 1, 2 E and a 1 E and a 2, and a 1 and 2.
1.
Okay, so talking about that nice long roll, making sure in the third measure to the fourth measure, it's 1 E and a 2 E and a 1, 2 E and a 1 E and a 2, and 1 and 2. So making sure that you're just staying nice and relaxed. This takes time, and you have to make sure, and I keep on saying relax, because if you tense up, that's what it sounds like. You're not letting it bounce. It should all be in the wrists, no arms, and look like crazy monkeys, right? So let's do that again. Making sure that as you're thinking about the rhythms, there's lots of 16th notes. That second line, 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2 and 1, 2 and a 3 and a 2 and 2. So just keeping in mind the counts, you should write them in, and that will help you make sure that you're doing them correctly. Let's do it again.
2,
1, 2, ready, go. 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 1, 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 and a 1 and 2.
1,
Very good. Third line.
1, 2,
1, 2, here we go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1, 2 and 1 and
2,
and 1 E and a 2, 1 and
2,
and 1 and
2,
and.
1.
So making sure that you're just really counting and subdividing and having that metronome going is going to really help with that. Okay? So this one has rolls on the and. So it goes like in measure 2 to 3, 1 and 1 and 1 E and a 2. So making sure you're still starting with the right hand, but it's a little bit shorter. Buzz, buzz, hit. Buzz, buzz, hit. 1, 2, buzz, buzz, hit, hit. Buzz, buzz, hit, 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 hit. Here we go.
1,
One more time.
2,
1, 2, third line, here we go.
1, 2, 1,
2, buzz, hit,
1,
hit,
2,
buzz,
1, 2,
buzz, hit,
2,
hit, buzz, hit,
2,
hit.
1,
Okay, next one. Fourth line, here we go.
1, 2, 1, 2,
1, 2, ready and go, and
1,
buzz, hit, hit, 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2, and rest, 2 E and a rest, 2 and 1, rest.
1,
Okay, so this one, same idea, making sure those buzz hits. Buzz, buzz, hit, buzz, buzz, hit. It's a very common thing in this excerpt. All right, let's do it again.
1,
This time I'm not going to count. 1, 2, ready, go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2,
Rest,
2, 1,
rest,
2, 1, 2,
rest.
1,
Very good. Fifth line. Here we go. So the fifth line has some syncopated rhythms. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 E and a 1 and a 2. So just make sure as you work on these rhythms with a metronome so that they're nice and consistent.
1, 2,
Here we go.
1,
The fifth line. 1, 2, ready and go. And 1 and 2 and 1 and two E and a one and a two and one E and two and a one and two and one E and a two and one.
2.
All right, here we go. Let's do that. The one thing at the end, the last two measures, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 E and 1 E and a 2 and 1. So making sure that that roll 1 and 2 or 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Okay, that's the second to last measure in the fifth line. Here we go.
1, 2.
Last time together.
1, 2.
1, 2. Ready, here we go. Fifth line. 1 and
2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2.
All right, very good. Sixth line. I'll play it first, and then we'll go over it.
2. 1, 2.
1, 2. Sixth line. Here we go. 1 and 2 E and a 1, 2 E and a 1, 2 and 1 and a 2 E and 1 and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1.
2.
Good. So just watch out for that rhythm when it goes from the buzz roll into it's at the fourth measure, goes and 1 and a 2 E and. Okay? Just making sure we're stopping early enough and making sure we're counting. Here we go.
1.
Again.
2. 1.
The sixth line.
2.
1, 2. Here we go.
1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2.
All right. We're on the seventh line now. Here we go. Seventh line.
1, 2.
1, 2. Ready, go. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and 1 and a 2 E and a 1, 2 and 1, 2 E and a 1 and a 2 E and
1.
Now when I'm counting through my buzzes, I'm counting 16th notes so that I know where I'm at. 1 E and a 2 E and 1 E and a 2 E and. Because if I don't do that, I get lost in the buzz roll. All right? So just make sure as you're playing, if you hear me counting, it's because I'm just trying to keep myself in the right spot. Here we go.
1.
Without me counting.
1, 2.
1, 2. Oh, it's gone around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The seventh line.
2.
1, 2. Ready and go. And
1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1.
okay. Last line. We made it to the last line. Here we go. Last line.
1.
Playing it first.
2.
1, 2. Ready, go. 1 and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 E. 1 E and a 2 E. 1 E and a 2 and 1 and a 2.
1, 2.
I like that one part with the 1 E and a 2 E. 1 E and a 2 E. 1 E and a 2 and 1 and a 2. So, not too bad. Let's do that one more time.
1,
And then we'll do a whole run of it,
1,
hopefully.
2.
1, 2. Here's
1,
the last line.
1,
1,
2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1.
good. Now, just so you know, having this up here is not the best thing, but I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. So you want to make sure that you're probably like this versus your arms and your shoulders up. I'm just doing this so that you can see the pad and my sticks at the same time. All right, so now we're going to go through the whole thing at that tempo. I will do my best not to make a mistake. If I do, I'm going to stay with a metronome, and that's why I suggest you use a metronome when you're playing, even through your audition, just so you're held accountable for where you're at in the piece and the timing. Okay? Here we go.
1,
I'm going to turn it down just a little bit.
2. 1, 2. 1,
So I'm going to go through the whole thing.
1, 2.
1, 2, here's the beginning.
1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. two, one, 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 two,
Oops.
one,
Two and
one,
two and
one, two,
and
one, two, one,
and
two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two.
So I made some mistakes. I got through most of it without mistakes. That's the thing, is that this is not about being perfect. It's about having an understanding of these rhythms. So if you make little mistakes, even in your audition tape, as long as I have an understanding that you understand how these rhythms work and you have the technical ability to play this stuff, that's the most important thing. That's what I'm listening for. And just trying. Now, if I was to go, this is a good tempo, I would say you don't need to go much faster than this. If you wanted to go faster, I'll play a little bit of it at a faster tempo just so you can hear what it would be like.
1, 2,
So this is 70.
2, 1,
I can go a little faster than that. Let's try 80.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
So this is 80.
1, 2,
And I'll play the beginning, just going to kind of get an idea of what this would be like.
1, 2,
1, 2, beginning. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1.
2,
And 1 and a 2 and a 1.
1,
2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1. 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and
1,
and 1 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and
1,
2 and a
1,
2 and a
1,
So
2.
that's kind of how that tempo would be, and that's totally doable too. I think it's a little bit easier sometimes to play the rolls at a faster tempo because it's more connected, whereas when you're going slow, it's hard to keep it connected. It's up to you. Tempo's not important as far as the speed. I just want it to be consistent. So metronome, metronome, metronome. Have a good one.